Welcome into today's broadcast right here at Cog Hill Farm. Now, Peaches wouldn't let Nugget into the house for this episode, so here's Jason, Brooke, and our chicken master, Marycarl.
What is up, guys? This is another episode of the Cogcast podcast. This is Jason, Marycarl, and Brooke, a.k.a. Mrs. Cog Hill. I hope y'all having a wonderful, wonderful day. We're having an awesome day here, and we have another special co-host today. This is a rooster. This is gonna have big, huge spurs on this rooster.
He's a killer.
He's already crowing.
He came out crowing, I believe. He came out hollering, Brooke.
That's right. This is one of 836 of the geese that Brooke has hatched here lately.
No. I haven't hatched.
Well,
I have them in the incubator.
Yeah, you're not sitting
I
on
think
them.
we have, right now, that have hatched. We've got watermelon, which is one that hatched extremely big. So that's one. Pickles, he was the first one to hatch. That's two. Ice cream,
I just call him IC.
I see.
and then little tiny cucumber. And then this guy, which
What's his
is
name?
Burley.
Burley.
And all
Like
of my
cream
geese,
brulee.
all of my geese are named after foods.
If you didn't notice, after foods, I think did Peaches start that? I mean, how did that come about?
I don't know.
Well, I had Meatball, which is one
Oh,
of my
that's right.
first
Oh.
geese, and it looked like she had a meatball in her.
That's right.
Marycarl was about 3 years old when we got our
Yeah.
first goose.
That was Meatball.
Yes, and Meatball was an old lady when we got
Meatball
her.
was old.
And she passed away here at the farm,
Mm-hmm.
and we don't know how she passed, but it looked to be peaceful.
Mm-hmm.
There was nothing that attacked her. We knew she was getting on up in age because the man had her for a long time before we got her.
Yeah.
So Meatball was our first goose, and I guess that started these food names.
I guess that is.
Yes,
yeah.
and then we had Cantaloupe.
Oh, that's right.
Cantaloupe was,
He was not the healthiest thing.
no, and when he was about 2 months old or so,
Uh-huh.
I would guess, he was fully feathered at the time, and he was just starting to get his curls, and Sebastipols are curly geese. They have curly feathers.
They don't have a spine in their feather, which causes it to
Yeah.
curl.
And
They look like they got prom dresses on.
or wedding dresses.
Yeah.
And Cantaloupe, we could not figure it out. We found him one day. He was just laying down and he couldn't move his neck. His
He was
neck was
limp.
upside down.
Almost like he had wry neck.
Yes, and we didn't know about wry neck at the time.
Right.
So we put him in the barn and we didn't think he was going to make it.
Oh, Marycarl, she was frantic, and I was too. Just not really thinking he was gonna make it.
And so we had a
we
cantaloupe.
We were gathering old produce at the time, and we had a leftover cantaloupe from that day.
So we got the cantaloupe and we fed it to him, and he ate it. That was the only thing he'd eat.
Yeah, he wouldn't drink
And-
water. He wouldn't eat food. He
Yeah.
wouldn't do anything.
And so he came back the next morning. He was fine.
He was like nothing had ever happened. Bop, 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 looking at us like, I'm cured. And so from that day on, he was, I don't know what his original name was, but it became cantaloupe.
It became
from
It
that.
cantaloupe.
was Pringles.
Was it Pringles?
Yep.
That was his original name?
Now, how do you remember that? That was
I
a
don't
long time
know.
ago.
That was a long time ago.
But he's
We-
been with us a long time.
He's been
you know
with us
it?
a long time.
And we've had several Sebastipols over the years. They just don't seem as healthy as most geese. Chinese are.
No, we lost
Yeah.
his mate
Yeah.
sitting on a nest
To a predator.
in the woods. Remember?
Yeah.
A couple
The
of years
predator
ago.
got her. Now
What
we
was
have
her name?
I think her name was Annabelle because we had a blog that we watched about a goose.
That's right.
Pringles.
and
and,
Annabelle.
Pringles and Annabelle.
Yeah. And the other goose's name was Annabelle.
Now
and
how many full size geese do we have?
We have 7 currently,
How
and
many-
like
how
7
many
babies.
males?
We have 3 males, maybe 2. Sim is, I don't know.
He's an unknown gender.
Sim's, I don't know. And he's a buff.
Yes.
He was a
she.
rescue.
He was a little
Yeah.
rescue goose.
And Cantaloupe, which is my Sebastopol. We've got Big C.
Big C, who is
He's a Chinese. He was last year's Gosling from the feed store.
So he's about 11 months old.
Yep.
And I will say this about geese. We'll dive deeper into geese in this podcast.
We've had a lot of questions here lately
Yeah,
about
and
geese.
we'll get into we'll talk about this little cutie we got here and more about the little ones we got going on.
So last night, this little gosling, yesterday actually, he started to make his way out of the shell.
He pipped, which means
pipped.
break the shell.
And geese take a little bit longer to hatch than your
It's a big
chicken
shell.
or your duck. So yesterday morning, we knew it was cracking, but we didn't know how long it had been cracking. It could have been 12 hours because we had not checked since the previous night.
Right.
And so Marycarl got me to take her down there last night. It was quite cold. It was pitch black dark, and we went and checked him, and he wasn't a whole lot further along, but she felt like he was going to hatch today.
And I could see his beak.
Oh, she
though.
saw. She came back. I sat in the car.
Uh-huh.
She came back. I don't know why I sat in the car when they're my geese. She came back running to me, and she said, "Mama, he's got a black and pink beak." And I was like,
See the
"What?"
little black at the top of his beak.
And she could see it peeking out of the shell, but you still couldn't see us.
Yeah.
You know, all you could see was a little yellow.
And then, like,
Oh, first thing this morning.
yeah,
First
we
thing
went down there, and
You went down there.
yeah, he was almost out.
Mm-hmm.
He hatched this afternoon,
Okay.
and so he was almost out, and I could see his head, and it had black on it.
She
And
was so excited.
yes, because I don't have a goose with much black on it,
No.
and there really isn't such thing as a solid black goose, and there isn't. I mean, there's wild geese like a barnacle goose. They've got a black head. Canadian goose.
Uh-huh.
He's got a black neck and head, but no domesticated goose is solid black, and no goose is.
So you're hoping for a solid black goose in the
Yes,
future?
I am. And this
Hey, I
baby-
could carry this on.
So we have a goose that's white with black on it, and
It's-
that's
well,
sour cream and onion.
It's just a
Yeah.
little black spot
Yeah.
right
and a
above
little
her
black
eye.
feather on her back.
Now we've had Canada geese here before,
Yes.
and you reckon that's where sour cream and onion came from? You think that's where she got the black from?
I actually think it came from the Chinese geese.
Okay.
Because Chinese geese are the brown Chinese.
Right.
They have dark feathering, and I think that dark feathering it was a brown, and I think it just kind of got darker into a more black than a brown.
Okay.
But you can still see a pigment of brown in that little spot above her eye.
I got you.
And you know the lady that we have gotten all of our Sebastopol's from over in Columbiana, Alabama, she has always raised Sebastopol. She loves that breed. She has tried to add color to her flock.
That's right.
And so she would get rid of the solid white ones, and then the ones that hatched that had color, she would keep them for her breeding
They
program.
remind me a lot of like Great Pyrenees
Yeah.
that has
Yeah.
that gray fawn looking
Right.
color. That's what they remind me of, the coloration of them.
And then there's a buff Sebastopol. They're tan, and the color buff is
I didn't know
tannish yellow. Well,
Why don't we have any of those?
they're kind of hard to get. Okay.
No.
Yeah.
But that's okay. So who else do we have? We have 4 or 5 females.
We've got sour
Pring-
cream and onion,
Okay.
which is my black and white
right, that's
Oh,
one
female.
female.
and she's a mixed breed.
Yeah, she's a Chinese
Okay.
Sebastopol mix, which all our mixed breeds are Chinese Sebastopol.
All our females are Chinese Sebastopol mixes.
Okay.
And lemon juice, which is mixed between it's a buff color, which was the white and the brown combined. It got lighter and not darker.
And she's the one we've ever hatched that's been a solid different color.
Yes,
Yeah.
and then we've got Pringles, which is our very favorite goose
She's beautiful.
She looks like the Chinese
with curls.
with curls.
And she is rotten.
Yeah.
And who's our number 4?
I
know.
Whipped cream.
Yes.
Whipped cream.
Whipped cream is a solid white Sebastopol Chinese mix, and
Yep.
she has no curls, but she has a ruffled looking neck. Then we've got Sim Sim. Sim Sim is our male. Supposedly, I think he's a male now.
But he's a purebred buff.
He's
Yes,
a purebred buff.
purebred buff goose. Then we've got Cantaloupe. He is a Sebastopol, full-blooded.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've got Big C. Big C is a Chinese, a white Chinese, and He goes.
He's about to have a birthday.
He is
Oh,
about to have
yes,
a
he
birthday.
He's about to be 1.
Also known as a swan goose.
Yes. Well, domesticated ones are called swan geese too.
Okay.
But there's a wild version that lives in Asia, and they look just like them, so they can fly.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
We learn something every week, don't we?
Every week in the podcast, we learn something new.
Every week. But do you have a favorite breed of goose?
I would have to say Sebastopols.
And why?
They are super duper calm.
They are calm.
But if the Sebastopol Chinese were a true breed, that would be my favorite.
Yeah, it's kind of a good mix between that.
Yes, they're not overly loud. Their Chinese are just like all the time, all day.
Now, how did you get the name Cantaloupe?
Cantaloupe was about 2 months old at the time. He was fully feathered, and we went outside. I remember it was dark outside, and
We probably went to put him to bed.
Yeah. And
How old was he at the time? Y'all remember?
But Marycarl said about 2 months.
yeah.
Oh, 2 months old. Okay.
And
He was fully
Marycarl
feathered.
was about 3 years old.
Okay.
And we were getting old produce at the time, and we had a cantaloupe left over.
So we had tried to feed him,
Yeah.
like mushed up
wouldn't-
feed. He
he
wouldn't
wouldn't
eat
eat
anything.
any.
He wouldn't drink anything.
Because
And-
he was just lethargic, or
he
what
just
was it?
he couldn't even hold his head up.
So he was like almost like he had rye neck.
Yeah, but we didn't know about Rodneck at the time.
Okay.
But so we put cantaloupe in the barn
Uh-huh.
and gave him a bite of that cantaloupe, and he ate it. So we gave him the whole thing.
It was like the best thing he'd ever eaten in his life.
How long was
Yes.
he like that? Y'all don't know how long he was like that? Or?
Well, I
like
mean,
12 hours.
Okay.
Yeah, it couldn't have been,
And we went back the next morning. He was perfect. It was almost
he
like
was,
nothing ever
looking
happened.
at us. Ba, 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 ba. Just, I need some more of that cantaloupe. And he
His
had
name was Pringles before that.
he had a new name as of that day.
Yeah.
Because
cantaloupe.
it was like a miracle. I
the
mean,
magic cantaloupe.
I did not think the thing was going to make it. I really didn't. And then, I mean, it was just like a switch turned on.
Wow.
He was cured the next morning.
That's crazy.
And I think it was just probably the fact that he didn't have the strength to put his beak down and actually.
Maybe dehydrated or
yeah,
something.
I think,
maybe.
But I don't think that was his
Right.
primary problem. But I think he was dehydrated and he didn't have the strength to eat or drink.
Wow.
And therefore, that cantaloupe was just enough nutrients to get him back going. And I don't know. I'm not a veterinarian, but that's my
Right.
thoughts.
Baby geese, when they're little and when they're big, they greet each other and talk to each other by going, pa, 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 pa. And if I do this to this baby, he's probably going to do it back. Pa, 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 pa.
And what else do they do?
When breeding season, they'll hiss at you.
Well, I was thinking more like imprinting.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they look real big imprinters.
They follow you around.
The first thing that they see is their parent.
Is their mom.
Ducklings are like that too.
Yes.
But goslings, it's like 10 times better than ducklings. And they're not as messy.
They are
They
not as messy.
imprint
They're not as messy.
way much than a duckling.
Yeah, they're not near as messy as a baby duck.
Ducks are like
Maybe that's how I knew Jason wasn't going to kill me for putting all these eggs in the incubator.
Ducks are like, you get a bite of food, put it in the water, get a bite of food, put it in the water, then slurp a little bit of it up.
And we have 4 in the house right now.
Well, I've got Pickles, which is my oldest goose, baby goose.
What, about 2 weeks old?
Yeah, he's about 2 weeks old.
And that's the one that
he's-
was hatched in the video
Yes.
last week, I think.
And then Ice Cream, which
Uh-huh.
was the one hatching in the video.
And I suggested those names because, when women are pregnant, what do they say they crave? Pickles and ice cream?
Pickles and ice cream.
So she named the first one Pickles, and I said, this one's got to be ice cream. So ice cream it is, and then what's the third?
And the third one is Watermelon. Watermelon hatched extremely big, which was odd. And he is just a big goose in general. And I have a feeling that Cantaloupe's the dad to him
Oh.
because he's so big. And this one, which is the youngest goose I have now, is just
He's quite large too, isn't he?
He's a normal size. And then I've got what are those things called? Cucamelons. They're the little tiny cucumbers. And his real name's Cucumber. I call him Cucamelon because he's so little.
He is so tiny compared to the other
Yes,
ones.
he's the size of a baby duck when they first hatch. And
You can't tell the difference. She's got a Muscovy that hatched in there with them, and you literally cannot tell the difference in which is the Muscovy according to size and which is the Goose.
yeah,
That's crazy.
I think that Pringles is the mom to it because Pringles is a small goose in general. I mean, she's not super tiny, but
All the other three
Yeah.
females are bigger than her.
yeah, and this gosling that I have here is your average size of a normal baby goose.
It's a day old.
Yes, he's about a half a day old
Okay.
actually. But he's fully dry and doing great. He's getting tired and going.
He's mingling with the other geese in their
Yeah.
tote in the bedroom.
Well, at least just only one.
Well,
At least
there's
just only one tote.
44 others to come, so
Because it used to be we'd have 6 totes in the bedroom.
That's
It
right.
would be like divided by
well,
breeds.
I
It'd be
shouldn't,
like
I
neck
shouldn't
and neck.
call it a tote because it's a trough.
Oh, it's a horse.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
it's-
a water
It's a
trough.
horse trough. So it's pretty big.
Yeah.
But I will say this kid has done an awesome job of keeping it clean and hadn't smelt anything. So somebody's
wow.
doing a good job.
Wow.
And geese don't seem to mix that feed with the
Well,
water.
geese are grazers.
Yeah.
They're grazers. They're not like a duck. You know, so
And I guess that's why we
Yeah.
say that they're not as messy as a duck.
they're not.
But you can see the little beak shape on a goose. It's a little different
It's
than
a little
duck.
different. And they have little teeth.
Yeah, and in breeding season, they'll get very protective.
They will. We've had a lot of
Very,
hissing
very
going on
protective.
down here, and
Yeah.
Marycarl takes an alternate path when she sees the boys in the in the way, and I get tickled because I just walk right past them.
Yeah.
And I was being a smarty the other day, and I said, Marycarl, they're not gonna bite you. And about that time, one of them grabbed me by the leg, and it went through my britches, and it didn't feel real good. But
hurts.
It's a pinch that
Yeah.
you're not expecting it.
It will leave a bruise, too.
It will leave a bruise.
Yeah.
It bruises instantly,
Yeah.
and sometimes when they're little, they nibble.
They do,
It's
but it's not,
extremely normal for female goslings. Female goslings do it way more than males. And I'm thinking Pickles is a male because Pickles does not nibble my hair or anything.
but that is that huge thing, isn't it?
Yes, Pickles is.
I mean, he is huge. He is like,
Are the male geese bigger than the female geese?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Not necessarily.
does
but,
it depend on the breed?
No. Most geese are about the same size when they hatch. When they get big, actually Chinese geese, the females are a little bigger than the males.
Yeah.
And she told me something the other day that she had just thought up, and I don't know if there's any truth to this or not, but it was really smart thinking. All right, so we say that the females have a baby sack. That's what we call it.
Uh-huh.
I don't know what it's called.
Right.
But
Well-
a female goose will have this belly
Right.
that hangs down.
Right.
And it's almost like it's in two parts.
Right.
I read that geese, they don't get up when
They don't
they're-
get up when they're sitting on a nest.
And I just had to look that up because I could not figure out how they did it. And so
I mean, they're sitting for, on average, 30 days
30
without,
to 40 days.
without getting up for
So-
food or drink.
So it stores in that pouch?
And I read that they store nutrients in their bodies.
Oh, okay.
And the only thing I could figure, I was like, where did they store it? I didn't type this in, but I figured out that I think that they store it in that little
that baby
sack.
When she told me that, it made perfect sense as to why the female would have that extra, it's just
Yeah.
almost
Because-
like it's a layer of fat, I guess.
Kind of like a
Because
camel
most-
in its hump.
Yeah.
Yeah, most male geese do not have that.
It may-
that's
it
that's
may-
one reason we thought Sim Sim was a female, because
But
Sim
Sim
Sim has
Sim's
a baby
big
sack.
goose.
Yeah, that's
Maybe,
true.
maybe it helps them sit on the eggs and keep them covered.
Maybe.
Could.
Any of y'all know any facts to that? Let us know. 'Cause,
Let us know in the comments.
I mean, yeah, we can Google, but it's not like Cog Squad fans telling
right.
you. I mean, true enough, that's the real deal.
Now, we're talking about geese not being as messy as ducks. I will say this. If you have more than 2 or 3,
It can get
their
nasty.
poop is very, very messy. It's green, it's slippery.
It's only
and-
green if they've been eating grass, Jason.
Yeah.
and they will tend to congregate on carports.
Oh, yes. Well, this particular set that we have now does not tend to do that. They stay as a group, and they kind of stay towards the barn area, towards the chicken coop.
Yeah, I mean they'll come up in the little grassy area that's by the fence in the driveway where the persimmon tree is. They normally don't go past that fence. And the other day we found them on our carport, but that was really weird. And
Peaches must have called them.
Yeah, I don't think we had fed them their corn that morning yet either.
Who knows?
Now, they were coming to get Peaches up.
And I think that's helped a lot keeping them off the carport because they used to congregate under the carport, and it's
Hey,
they do not stop pooping. I'm telling you, it's non-stop.
it's not good when you're going to get in your car and you step in a
It
pile
is
of
bad.
goose poop.
And the babies, their poop is quite stinky.
And it's frequent too, isn't it?
Yes, it's like, here we go. Like, I'll let them out and watch them on a little.
Closer.
I'll let them walk around on a little towel loose, and it's like a little poop here, a little poop there.
And we tried dog little wee pads, and after them being out just a limited amount of time, that pad will be covered up.
Yes.
But that's okay. We can throw it away and start
And
over.
shavings are best for
Right.
goslings because they can't eat it. The big ones, the flake shavings, they can't eat it, and they will try to eat anything pretty much.
Marycarl had some pictures hanging in the trough, and I don't
They
know
tore
if
off the edges.
I don't know if she had wrote a story that they were supposed to read or what it was, but she showed me the bottom of the paper where she had it hanging where she thought they couldn't get to it, and they had nibbled off the bottom of the paper.
It was
so
a little picture that I drew of the geese, and
You must have wanted them to see theirself. Is that what it was?
Is that what it was?
Maybe.
That's funny. Now, we'll say this about geese. Well, number one is the breed really, really makes a difference on how much. You may want to go take him back if he's cold.
yeah.
You coming back, or are you going to join us
I
next
think
week?
I'm gonna join you next week.
Okay.
Okay. We enjoyed having you.
Every week.
Thank you.
All right, what do I unplug here?
We'll just unplug this one right here. Now, geese are somewhat beneficial because, I mean, they are good guard dogs and they will help with predators. But a goose is not going to stop a dog. A goose is not going to stop a coyote. A goose maybe would ward off a fox to some degree. But raccoons, cats, possums, a goose probably does a relatively good job at keeping those guys at bay.
And is my mic on?
Yeah, it's on.
I won't say they deter hawks, but they do notify other animals that a flying predator is overhead. Not only do they, do a head turn, they are completely at 90 degrees and warning others of, an overhead possibly predator.
Yes.
And not all the time is it a predator. Sometimes it could be a buzzard, but they catch in their peripheral vision anything that they see and just notice it. I mean, their vision just must be outstanding.
And I say if depending on the size of a dog, they go after our dogs, and our dogs don't ever bother them, but they will. The dogs will take off running when the geese come after them.
Especially this time of the year. If they feel that something's after where they've laid their eggs or after their nest, they go after whatever it is with their mouth open.
Yeah.
And it's very intimidating.
It's very intimidating. Their wings come out, they hiss, they make all kind of noise. And I get asked a lot about geese and be in guard geese, and how well do they do?
And do you recommend them?
Do we recommend them? Yes, we do recommend them, but don't think because you got one goose that
It's going to stop
it's
your
going to
predator
stop
problem.
predators. It's not. It's just one of those things. How we used to, talk about when we raised our meat birds is just have layers, just and layer after layer after layer after layer of some type of protection, and it all adds up to be, as a whole, better against predators than not having them.
I feel like a predator is going to try so many times before it says,
Yeah.
hey, man, I give up. This ain't worth it. I'm
Right.
moving on. And, yeah, it would help. It might be the first defense, but then you better have an electric fence.
That's right.
And then you better have, a gate that's
Right.
going to keep them locked
That's
up.
right.
And a high place for them to get off the ground. Just
Well, it kind of reminds me of, your general petty robber who's going through the neighborhood and going to house, and the house he knocks on that the door's locked and it's got
Or
a
the
dog.
dog barks, yeah.
He's going to the next one.
that's right.
And it could be a Chihuahua. You know what I mean?
But it's enough to make you walk
It's
away.
enough to make you go away, and that's kind of like geese are, in my opinion.
Yeah, we have had geese for quite some time now. I guess Marycarl was maybe 2 when we got our first goose.
Probably so.
Meatball. And she was named Meatball because the big knot on her head, Marycarl thought it looked like a meatball. She was old when we got her, and she ended up passing away of natural causes, but she was just wonderful.
She was.
And I think that's what started our love of geese.
And she was a Chinese, but to be a Chinese, she was
not
very
loud.
docile and very loud. Now, that's the thing about geese. People say, well, which breed do you think's the best one at guard geese, or which breed do you recommend? I recommend, depending on what you want to do, if you want a guard goose,
You probably want something loud.
you're going to want a Chinese or African.
Yep, because they're known as the 2 most vocal breeds.
And they're a little bit more aggressive, I think.
Yeah, they are. And you can Google loud,
Yes.
which breeds are loud geese.
That's right.
And there's charts that'll show you. Sebastopol's on the docile side.
Yep.
And
a
like we said,
yeah,
the Chinese and African's going to be on your,
Loud side.
and they're not high strung, but they're not as calm as a Sebastopol either.
And the Sebastopol probably would not make a great guard goose versus
That's right.
the Chinese or the African, in my opinion.
And the Sebastopol are on the rather expensive side because
Yep.
they are endangered.
And they got the pretty feathers.
The
and
pretty,
like I said, look like they got a prom dress on.
Yeah, it's
and
kind of like you're buying a prom dress
that's it.
versus a pair of overalls.
Yep. And usually the Chinese and the
African
Africans
are
are
cheap.
so easy. That's the ones you see
At your feed
at the
stores.
feed store. And so if you do get one of those,
But just know the degree of loudness that
They're
you're going to
loud.
experience.
they
And,
are loud.
just do your homework. Be prepared. Don't go in and be like, oh, I didn't know it was going to be this loud.
Yeah. For those that watch our videos, our vlogs, the ones you hear in the video, I would say 80% is Big C, who is the Chinese.
Yeah.
And the other 30% is Pringles, who's half Chinese, half Sebastopol.
Yeah, the Sebastopols, we rarely hear a sound. And when
Yep.
you do hear a sound, it's almost like a, oh.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
a...
That's what
just a-
Meatball used to do.
Yeah, well, Meatball did that, and she was a Chinese, so I can't say all of them are like that, but I would say the majority.
Majority of them, yeah.
Yeah, the majority of your Chinese, or every Chinese we've ever had, has been loud.
Very loud.
And it can be annoying, especially
It
when
can
you're
be
trying
annoying.
to talk and maybe
Or
record something.
videos, yeah. I can't tell you how much footage I cut out. Or we're doing something and talking about something, and I'll tell them, I go, look, we gotta stop doing this. It's just too loud. They can't hear us.
The world's worst is when you need some help and your spouse or your child is across the way and you're hollering at them and they're like, I can't hear
I
you.
can't hear you.
I don't know if that's just convenience or if they really can't hear, but
Probably both.
it's a good excuse.
Let me reset the camera. Yeah, it's probably both because they are loud.
But we do have both ducks and geese here on the farm.
Right.
And the geese stay in their flock.
They do.
And I wouldn't say all the ducks stay together, but the ducks have their little clans and they've grouped off and made their own separation. But you won't see our ducks and our geese being one herd.
Right.
It doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen.
They're separated, and I don't care if a goose was raised with a duck, they're going to go to their herd.
They are.
And it amazes me how,
Yeah.
they just split off. It's like they know what they are, and
But you know what? Don't do that.
What?
Chickens.
Yeah, that's true because we have a peacock that was raised with the chick.
Yep.
And they're
still buddies.
best friends.
And then you got Roomba and the new female
Crystal.
peacock, Crystal. And then we got Scott and Popcorn. So I mean, they and we used to, didn't we have a duck? It was Bill that thought he was a chicken forever.
Well, Bill was raised. They gave us. I think they gave us Bill at the feed store because he was like the last duck.
Maybe so.
And we were buying chicks that day, and so Bill was raised in the brooder with the chicks, and he thought he was a chicken to the point where he would mate with chickens.
Yes, no ducks.
No ducks.
And to this day, I've never seen Bill get in the water.
I've never seen him get in the water, but he does have a best friend. Bill's a male. Bill's best friend is Ted, who is a male. Bill is an Indian runner. Ted is a Peking. But if you see Bill and you don't see Ted, you gonna bet your bottom dollar that they beside each other.
They're close by. I can tell you that because they're like this.
I mean, and I don't know why that happened or how that happened. They're just best friends.
They are best buddies. Bill and Ted are super close.
And if Ted goes to the creek, Bill will follow. But most of the time, you'll see Bill sitting on the bank waiting on Ted to get.
He won't get in the water. It's crazy. I've never seen a duck that's scared of water, but Bill's scared of water.
I'm sure they had conversations while they were in that brooder.
I'm sure they have. I wonder if Bill's been made fun of when he's down there and all the other
I'm
ducks
sure,
are
but
swimming around.
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Don't bother Bill none.
No,
I can tell you that.
what you look like or what you act like is no concern.
That's right.
You're Bill.
You're Bill.
You're yourself.
Be a Bill.
Be yourself.
That's right. Be a Bill.
Be a one and only. Hey, we need a shirt that says "Be like Bill."
Be like Bill.
Bill's a winner, that's for sure.
That is, yeah. Bill is awesome.
No peer pressure for Bill.
Bill is old too. How old is he?
He sure is. I don't even want to think about how old he is because that makes me feel old.
Bill's old.
I just remember when we got Bill.
Ted's not old.
Ted's not old. Ted's a youngin', but Bill's an old man.
Bill's old. Bill's been around a long time. So I guess he's one of our oldest ducks.
Well, probably the oldest thing left on our farm, I would say, would be cantaloupe.
Cantaloupe.
Don't you think?
I would think so.
Cantaloupe and Bill might be running a close race.
Maybe so.
I don't know who else would be older.
So that would, I mean, geese live a pretty long time.
If I'm not mistaken, I think it's 15 to 20 years.
Yeah.
It depends on the breed,
right?
Of course, but on average, I think you can expect a goose to live 15 years.
That's probably how old Meatball was.
Yeah, I said Pringles, but I meant Meatball. Meatball, she was... she laid eggs for a very long time. Remember?
She laid eggs for a very long time. And she was a loner. She would hang out with the group, but she wasn't part of that clique at all.
She was a Bill.
Yeah, she was a Bill. Definitely a Bill.
Be like Bill and Meatball. Have your own thoughts.
That's right. Don't follow the clique.
Don't follow that clique. Hey, don't do it. It ain't worth it.
That's so funny. She was like Bill.
It is the truth. I mean, but as for do we recommend geese? I do, but do your homework.
Yeah.
If you have small children, there is going to come a time if you have a male when breeding season's going to come about. I don't know if you have a female if that would happen, but they do get nippy.
Yes.
They're going to try to bite you.
They get territorial during breed season. During breeding season. Now, how long does breeding season last?
I can't answer that because I always said that breeding season started in February for geese. Well,
yeah, ours are clocks all messed up. Yeah,
ours started in October.
Yeah, this all messed up.
She's never stopped. So
I think what happened to ours is that Big C came and he matured around October, and he may be his hormones or whatever maybe is what kicked in the girls to lay in like they are. That's the only theory I got. I mean, other than that, but usually February to when typically.
I would say February and March.
Just a couple of months.
Maybe into April a little bit, but not typically the whole month of April.
Yeah.
It's just a couple of months. I mean, they're seasonal. They're not going to lay in the summertime unless you have a Pringles.
Yeah.
But that's an oddity. I mean, they're seasonal layers. So during that time, they're going to get a little more aggressive. As for feed, they pretty much can live off grass
They're
alone.
grazers. If you had, they're not omnivores in my opinion, like a chicken or a duck.
No, they would rather have grass
They're
any
grazers.
day than feed.
Yeah, they're just the opposite of the other two.
Now, our kind of grass that we have here has gone dormant, and therefore we don't have any green for them to eat. But they do supplement their diet with leftover lettuce and
Right.
things that we find that are green that we supplement their diet with, as well as, laying pellets.
Laying pellets. They got access 24/7 to laying pellets, and I throw out scratching corn in the morning times.
But that just basically keeps them happy.
Just keeps them happy. That's just a treat for them in the mornings.
But I would say that if you live in an area where you have pasture, they're not going to eat. I mean, they're going to eat grass, and
they're
that's
gonna
going
eat
to be
grass.
it.
Yeah, I agree. And two, geese are water, like a big swimming hole or something for them to swim around in, is not nearly as important as the duck, in my opinion, because as long as they got something they wash their mouth out with or whatever. But
But geese are required to clean out their nostrils.
a bowl of water.
Right.
But as for, the ducks just seem to love
water
way more than the geese do.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we have often used a milk jug for ducks in the past, and you'll take a gallon milk jug. I wish I had brought one.
Ducklings.
And take about this high up, depending on what size your duckling is, and cut a hole in it, just big enough for them to stick their head down in, and the water level will be right below that, so they can stick their head in and drink. Well, if they've got to work 24 hours to squeeze their body in there to get in that water, ducks will do it.
Ducks will get in it.
Geese, they're going to stick their head in there and drink their water and come right back out. They don't care.
No.
They just need something to drink.
That's right.
Ducks, no.
No, they're going to get in it. Ducks,
that's their bathtub.
They are obsessed with water.
They are. And if you look at our creek, our geese, the water's cold right now. Our geese go down there maybe once a day right now.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look at that creek, I don't care if it's 6 o'clock in the morning, it's 22 degrees. It's going to be slap full of ducks.
Slap full of ducks. Yeah, the geese like go down there and you'll see the clan. It looks like a convoy.
They take a dip and they come right back.
They all waddle down there. They take the dip and it looks like they clean themselves and then right back out and they're done.
They're done. But the ducks, you'll see the same one except for Bill down there all day long. Bill's just sitting on the diving board waiting for a friend to come back. Hey, y'all. Got my Speedo on.
Yeah, that's so funny. But yeah, I would say
if you don't have a natural water source, then ducks may not be for you. Because ducks clean up. I mean, no, they don't clean up. I wish they did clean up. Mess up every source of water that you will put out for them.
Yeah, they will. They'll get it nasty. And within minutes.
Now, I'm not saying that geese are clean, but they are cleaner than ducks.
They're cleaner than ducks. They are cleaner than ducks.
They are a lot cleaner than ducks.
But louder, for the most part.
Yeah, you kind of get a trade-off there. But geese are fun.
They are fun, and they got a lot of personality.
They do.
I like geese better than ducks.
Oh, I do
sure.
too. I do too.
Absolutely.
And the reason that I have put all of these eggs in the incubator is because we have a lot of friends that have asked us for like JC over there at
our big buddy JC.
He has a goose that he got from us. He named her Miss Priss.
Mm-hmm.
And Miss Priss is a single goose.
Yep.
And he had two, and that one didn't make it.
That's right.
And it just so happened that we didn't have any more hatch. It was the end of the season when that goose passed away. So Miss Priss has been a lone goose. And she's made friends with a pig. And that pig and that goose are BFFs. That means best friends.
Yep. And if people don't know, JC is it's not a wheelchair, but he's
a motorized chair.
But and Miss Priss rode around in his motorized chair with him. So I mean they're like this. So
and she's now laying eggs. But they told me the other day when I talked to them that the pig's eating the eggs.
Oh no.
And so I mean it's not like the eggs are fertile anyway. Right. So when they told me to be on the lookout for a male goose for Miss Priss, then all I could do was put 45 eggs in the incubator and hope for a male out of one of those. I mean, that's my justification for all of this. But
They're fun, though.
we've had a lot of people ask us about shipping goose eggs. Wish I could, but I can't.
Yeah, we're still not NPIP certified.
We're not NPIP certified. I had a number, and I called the number, and I did not get a return call back. I do have a new number. However, I've not had time to sit down and give them a call and find out the information that they need to come down here and do some blood work and such as that. We have a healthy flock, but we still want to be NPIP to do things by the books.
Right. Because we could get in trouble if we were to ship eggs. Just say, for example, we ship eggs out and it cracks and it leaks and we get caught. And we could get in trouble and have to pay several $1,000s in fines, and
we
just
hope
don't
y'all
wanna do that.
understand. It's not that we're being greedy. It's not that we don't want to help others. It's just the fact that we are not going to break the law to ship eggs.
That's right.
It's illegal, and when we become NPIP certified, we'll let you guys know.
Yeah, then we can ship the
We
eggs.
appreciate all the interest.
Yes.
Marycarl silkies have been a hot topic here lately.
Very hot topic.
Everybody wants hatching eggs. Same thing with those. We can't ship them. We're not NPIP certified. And when I first mentioned becoming NPIP certified to Marycarl, she cried.
Yep.
And that was kind of the first deterrent as to why I didn't do it back during the summer months.
And the reason why she got upset is because if they find something wrong, then they terminate your flock. But the main thing they check for is influenza.
And I don't think there's been a case of influenza since like the 70s.
Yes.
That's the bird flu, as you know of. They do check for several different things. We know our flock is healthy, but you can't convince a child
Right.
that they're not going to kill your animals.
Right.
She's so scared that they'll check one of them and something be wrong and them have to. She doesn't want to have Sally's blood taken.
Right.
She's trying to figure out how she can, get Sally out of the blood work because she's had a lot of blood work in her past.
That's true, too.
She doesn't want her chickens to have blood work
Right.
done. And, it's just a simple stick, but explaining that to a child is
Right.
kind of hard.
Right.
So every time that I have talked to, she was actually in the car with me on the first phone call, and I left a message, and I never got a return call back. I think I called the wrong number.
Okay.
And when I hung up, I looked over at her, and she was crying.
Yeah.
And, I kind of felt like initially I was like, oh, my gracious, that's silly. Don't act like that.
Right.
But then the more I thought about it, the more I realized this is her
That's
family.
right. That's right. That's right.
I mean, her birds are her
And-
life.
And if she comes to us and says, look, I've thought about it, I don't want to do it, then we won't do it.
We won't do it.
Yeah.
And it's just that simple. I mean, she's 11 years old. What goes through their heads is not necessarily what goes through our heads. We know that our chickens are well, but we can't be 100% positive they won't find, something we don't know is present.
Right.
And that's why we don't want to ship eggs, because if there is something
Yeah, then
present,
yeah, that's true too.
and it were to transfer to somebody's,
Right.
farm or whatever, we don't want to do that.
That's right.
So speaking of sickness and her having blood work, if you've listened to the past podcast, you've heard us talk about Marycarl's autoimmune disease. She had to go this week for her 11-year-old checkup. And guess what?
What is it?
Well, you know
I
this,
know.
but I'm going to tell them. Her ANC,
Her
which
white
is-
blood count.
yes, was where it should be.
Yes.
And that is like the 5th time in a row that we've had a good ANC. And it's your neutrophil count's actually what it is.
Right.
And so the doctor felt pretty confident that this may be gone and we may never have to mention the word neutropenia again. I was very ecstatic.
Very ecstatic. So happy.
That was music to all of our ears
Yes.
to just hear that your child may be healthy.
Yes.
And I just wanted to update y'all on that while I was thinking about it.
That's awesome. It such a relief.
Yes, such a relief.
Such a relief.
Any of y'all that have children that are battling health problems, you know how worried it can make you, and to hear,
Yes.
that you may be on the downhill
Yes.
swing is awesome
Is
news.
awesome.
So y'all are in our thoughts if you have
Absolutely.
children with problems, because we've been there.
One more thing I like to mention before we go, and that is If you didn't know, we hit 100,000 subscribers today on our vlogging channel.
100,000 subscribers.
It took almost 4.5 years, but we did it.
We did
it. We have really had a huge increase, probably since October. We made you guys, y'all may not even notice it, but we made a subtle change to the channel. We went with less editing. I can't say that word.
He don't do so much on the computer anymore.
Yeah, just less editing.
And more live, more of what we actually
More
do.
of like what we do, and longer videos, and a lot more of us together, the family in it. And it was just, it sounds like a big change, but it really wasn't. We were always all in the video, whatever. But that little subtle change that I did really did seem to kickstart our channel into overdrive, it seems like.
And again, Jason does do all the editing. He spends a lot of time, making sure that everything's right, and I'm probably sleeping during that time. So a big thanks to Jason for making this all come together and making y'all smile. And
well, it blows my mind. I've told Brooke in the past, I had one goal, and that goal was to get to 100,000 subscribers.
He's actually got a cork board over here, and like on the top of it, it says goals, and number one is 100,000 subscribers.
The 100,000 subscribers, and so that happened today, and I can't thank you guys enough.
Reckon we'll really ever get to 100,000 on this podcast?
I think so. I think we will get to 100,000 on the podcast. The podcast is growing fairly good too.
You know what would help?
What?
If people would share it with their
That's
friends.
Right.
And I mentioned to Jason today, he's often asked me, you think we could do 2 podcasts in a week?
2 podcasts a week.
And my response is nobody wants to hear my voice 2 times a week. But I started thinking today, okay, what if we did another podcast that was strictly about the videos that we made in the past week?
And maybe like a recap or behind the scenes or more in depth of the videos that we shot that week.
What about questions?
Answer questions in the videos for that week. More context.
Will y'all tell us what you think?
Yes, please do.
In all honesty,
yes.
Do you get enough Cog Squad with the podcast and 2 videos, or do you want more?
Yeah, and the podcast I can do.
Yeah, the podcast is easy for.
It's easier for me to edit because there's not much editing in the podcast.
I might could do that myself, huh?
I would video us the whole day, so I may have 6 hours worth of footage in a normal video that I have to go through and narrow it down to 30 to 20 minutes.
And he has to watch all that and then figure out what's quality material and what people don't want to see. But when you do a podcast, you're just talking. There is no, taking that out because you burped or,
That's right.
You're going to hear all that stuff.
You're going to hear it in the podcast.
That's right. And so if y'all are interested in maybe answering questions, recaps, behind the scenes, whatever you want to know, let us know, because it's quick and easy for us.
Yep.
All we do is throw on a Cog Squad t-shirt and sit in front of the microphones and tell you more.
Right.
So
that's what we're thinking about doing is our normal podcast like we're doing now, telling stories of the past or talking about a subject in general, like today was geese. And then the next podcast will be about the 2 videos that were shot that week.
And questions.
And questions. And
questions
answers.
about anything, not necessarily about the videos.
Right.
If you guys feel like that might be a waste of our time, yes, our time is limited. We don't want to do anything that would not benefit others, but we also want to help.
That's right.
So let us know.
Let us know. And getting back to the 100K real quick, I forgot to mention this. Saturday,
are you giving something away?
Saturday's video is going to be the giveaway video. I don't know. I would announce it right now what all is going on, but we've got a lot of big sponsors involved.
Some things that you probably don't want to miss out on.
Yes.
I think I think you could benefit from almost anything that's being given away.
I don't know how many winners we're going to have yet because we're getting a lot of sponsors and people that want to be a part of it.
But tell them how to sign up.
I'm actually going to make a page on our website that will have a way for you to enter the contest instead of doing it on YouTube, blah, blah, blah. And I'll announce all that Saturday. So just be sure to look out for Saturday. People that support us in the past that have been great to us. Hoss is going to be in it. Greenstalk is going to be in it. Teespring, us, Grubterra. I don't have the list in front of me, but
Many more.
So be on the lookout for Saturday's video. That is going to be us celebrating 100,000 subscribers, and we want to give back to you guys. So that will be announced on Saturday. How to enter the contest? Not contest. It's not a contest. How to enter the giveaway, and what we're going to give away, and how many winners we're going to have.
Well, I don't think anybody could deny anything that's actually free.
Right.
And we appreciate everybody.
Gosh, you just don't know, guys. We thank y'all so much.
We wish we could give something away to everybody who's ever subscribed,
Yes.
who's ever watched a video. But I want to give away my thanks to you. And
Absolutely.
that's from deep down.
Absolutely.
Without you guys, we wouldn't be here.
Nope.
And we actually enjoy it. I don't find this a chore at all. I came to Jason with the idea about doing the second podcast.
She did.
Because I enjoy it.
Yep.
And I want to continue, and I hope that I can help somebody else learn. And I mean, I don't consider myself to be a specialist in any area, but if I could help somebody in one way, then I'm beneficial.
We do enjoy helping you guys, and we try our best
To respond to questions and emails.
as many as we can. But
if we miss you, it's not because we didn't like the way your name was spelled or anything like that. It happens, and sometimes things go to junk mail, things we don't see, and we sincerely apologize.
And it's just the overload of it.
It
as
is.
the channel's growing,
So check out that video on Saturday.
So be sure to check out the video
And
on
also
Saturday.
respond to us about if you'd like to hear us another time.
Another podcast. Hey, guys.
Let me say it.
Okay.
Y'all be good.
I cannot thank you enough for the 100,000 subscriber mark on our family vlog channel. If you're new to the podcast and don't know about our vlogging channel, go check it out right over here. It's lots of family fun here on the farm. Y'all be good.